I have them typed up. It's just I put them in a different format because I didn't like getting fractions in PowerPoint. So I will post it once I am happy with it, but you can copy it here too. But yep, here we are. Again, we're going to start in about 4 minutes though. You can also get out your workbook because you can follow along as we do some problems here. But hopefully you get the hang of this in the next couple days, so later on we can do some pretty challenging ones. I actually think dimensional analysis is pretty fun, but that's when you get into the challenging questions. I got some pretty challenging questions for you guys. Yes, you have Miss Holden at 2 on Mondays. You got that. I'm not sure if she's doing that on Thursdays as well. That might be somebody else. It's okay, we shouldn't take too long here. Once you get the hang of this, it goes quick. It's once you can set them up. If you can set them up, you can solve it. It's just multiply and then divide. And you're more than welcome to use a calculator. I don't care. I'm concerned that you know how to set them up and that you know what's actually going on here. Actually, I'm just going to post this PDF for you. There, I added the notes. It's a PDF though, so it's a little different than before. So if you want to refresh the assignment, you should see the notes. So if you don't want to write them down, you can just print that page out or copy it later or whatever. But that's the one I used to get these. Again, I just, if you want to write it down, you can. I just shared the PDF that I'm taking it from. It's just difficult to get fractions in PowerPoint or Google Slides, and we're going to be dealing with a lot of fractions, so it's like a pain to do. So I was trying to find a way so I didn't have to do it. But everything you need to know about dimensional analysis, like theory behind it and how it works and your steps to do it, I just posted 3-page PDF. Yeah, exactly. I didn't make one. Did not make a PowerPoint. I posted this PDF for you though. I just stole it from someone who did it well. So 4 pages on it. I posted that for you. You can download that and look at that, or you can copy what I have to say. Either way, you'll get the same material. And again, it's really not hard. It's just a bit confusing at first to set up, and it's about following units as opposed to following numbers, which is kind of strange. But anyways, it is 1:20 now, so we can start talking about it. This week we are focused on dimensional analysis. Today we are going to do, so our schedule is Monday, we're focused on US customary units. These are like your feet, your yards, your pounds, your fluid ounces. Tuesday, we're going to do metric, which If you like using that staircase, I guess the staircase went the other way. If you like using the staircase that I showed you at the beginning of the year, that'll work for metric. So we kind of did metric stuff already in science, but dimensional analysis will also work for metric, and dimensional analysis is probably a more robust method of doing it because it'll work for everything all the time, and you really just have to look up conversion ratios. On Wednesday, it's going to be the same kind of stuff. I mean, it's still dimensional analysis. You still do all the problems the same, but we're going to look at going from metric to US. Custom system. So how do you convert between like inches and centimeters or something like that? Yeah, we're going to be doing them together today. And then Thursday and Friday, we're going to be doing some pretty heavy word problems with it. This year is going to be word problems, and they're going to be pretty challenging. The numbers are not going to be easy. All the information, for the most part, I think I give you in the problem, and you're going to have to pick out the conversion ratios from what's being said. But it's all done the same way through what's called dimensional analysis. And we looked at, on Friday, we introduced it, so you have an idea of what's going on. But basically, it's used for converting units from one unit to the other. And in that case, like how many feet are in so many miles or something like that. So you're converting one unit to another. It can only convert between units of kind of measuring the same thing, right? You can't convert pounds to miles because they measure different quantities. So be aware of that. That's just not possible. You can't compare pounds to miles with the same unit. And it's basically just going to involve multiplication division of conversion ratios. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a whole string of conversion ratios and solve by multiplying and then dividing. So if you can multiply fractions, and if you can divide a fraction, knowing that a fraction is just a division problem, you can do the math here. It's not really that high level of math. The problem is setting things up. And when we get to set things up, I cannot stress it enough, but focus on the units. Follow your units. It tells you exactly how to do it if you follow the units. So with that, the second page of notes is over here. So follow the units. So conversion ratios, just so you know what you mean when I call it a conversion ratio. These things are either given to you, you have it memorized, or you look it up on Google. I don't expect you to memorize all of them. However, you should have some memorized. You should know that there are 12 inches in a foot. If you got to 6th grade without knowing that, I'd be very surprised. But you might not know off the top of your head how many feet are in a mile, or even this one down here, you probably don't know off the top of your head. You don't know that there is 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. It's not necessarily really that common of knowledge. So you look them up, or it's given to you. Your book is going to give them to you. So when you look on the page today, which is 216, so to answer Anna's question, we're on workbook page 216. You'll notice at the top it's going to give you little tables, and that table is going to have the conversion ratios in there. You just have to decide which one you actually need and how to apply it. So you're going to just be multiplying by conversion ratios. That's all you're going to do. In a conversion ratio, again, it actually equals 1. All conversion ratios are going to equal 1. It's just showing it in different units. So over here, you know 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. Whether you do or not, I'm telling you, it is. It's true. So if we write it as a fraction or a ratio, 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch, well, these are the same value. They're just in different units. So this is the same number being divided by the same number here. It just is in different units. In that case, it's always going to equal 1. It will cancel out if you write this in the same units. And we're going to use this property of multiplying by 1 so it doesn't change our original value. And in that case, that is your identity. So we are just going to multiply by conversion ratios, which are disguises for the number 1. They're just written in different units. So we can go ahead and get started. Once you get the hang of this, it's going to go quick. You just got to set things up. Let's see, let's get out of that later. And we are looking at page 216 in your workbook. And you'll note at the top it gives you some tables. And you're going to have to reference those tables to find your conversion ratios. So looking at number 1 on here, just how to do this. Oh, I can copy this down. 1, it says you want to take 20 ounces to pounds. LBS is pounds. And it wants to know how many pounds is 20 ounces. So this is asking how many pounds is 20 ounces. And let's see, the test is not going to be this week. It's probably going to be next week if I even test you on it. It might just be kind of a quiz, because again, it's really just dimensional analysis. The whole chapter is dimensional analysis. Your book doesn't set it up that way, but that's the way that you're going to do it when it gets time, because it's just robust. So if we do have a test, it's going to be short. I would call it more of a quiz. It might just be like 10 questions or something. Is it multiplication and division of conversion ratios or conversion factors? Yeah. Conversion ratio and conversion factor, same thing. You're going to multiply it like you do fractions. It's just that sometimes when you multiply fractions, you're actually dividing them because you multiply by inverses, right? So it's really both. Was science due last week or is it due this week? You can have this week to work on it. I did not post the next chapter. When it comes to science, I am going to post the remaining of your assignments once I get them all figured out, and they're going to be due by the end of school. So if you finish them within a week, then you're done with science for the year. But once you get the next wave of assignments done, you're going to be done, as long as you got everything before that done as well. So I am getting, a lot of people did need more time with the science, so I'm willing to give you this week as well to work on it. Also the fact that last week I learned when our last day of school is, and you're probably not as disappointed as I am, but being the last day of school is May 29th, I lose 2 weeks of school with you. So I originally had things planned in my head to go out for another 2 weeks. So I need to make up for that time the best I can. And even with 8th grade coming along, because I need to get their grades in sooner due to all the unique stuff that 8th graders do. They even have less time. So I am in a time crunch right now. But I'll figure it out. So hopefully by the end of this week you have the rest of your science for the year, at least to work on, or by Monday you should have it by the latest. So number 1 is asking you to do 20 ounces to how many pounds, right? I don't know how many pounds we got, so we got to figure this out. Jonah's saying, wow. Yeah, I'm shocked too. It's going fast. Well, at least for me. I don't know how busy you guys are at home. You guys might be bored out of your mind still, and time might be crawling slow. Anyways, we're going to start with what we're given. So we are given 20 ounces. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to write 20 ounces as a fraction. And that's 20 ounces over 1. Pretty easy enough. When it starts off, this is pretty much how you're going to be doing things. Occasionally, if your first unit was a rate, you would have a denominator unit, right? If I had 20 miles per hour and I want to figure out how many minutes per hour that is, I have a denominator rate here. So that would be 20 miles on top. Or I'm sorry, miles per minute. That doesn't make sense, right? Miles per minute. I have a denominator rate here, so it would have miles on top and hours on the bottom. but we'll get to that some other day. Right now, you're not going to have a denominator unit, so it's always going to be 1 here for now. So you're then going to just multiply this by conversion factors, and there could be as many of these as we need. It does not matter because start you off easy and probably only have you do 1 or 2 at a time. But here we want to take it to pounds. So our next conversion factor I know very little about. All what I know is I want my answer to be in pounds, and I'm given ounces. So I need ounces to go away. In order to get it to go away, I'm going to divide by ounces. Then I want ounces on the bottom, because ounces divided by ounces equals 1, and it goes away when I multiply. Multiplying by 1 is your identity. It doesn't change anything. So if ounces are on top here, in my conversion ratio, I need ounces to be on the bottom. So I need to get rid of ounces. So whatever my conversion ratio is, the number of ounces is on the bottom. Now I'm going to go and reference my charts at the top of my table. And you should note that I can change ounces to something. I don't care what it is right now, as long as it involves ounces and is getting me close to pounds. It might get me right to pounds. It might have another step in there. But looking at it, you can see at the top, it does say that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. And it's in a table at the top there. This is an L, and that's a 1. Do it this way. 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So this here is my conversion ratio. Now the question is it going to be 1 pound to 16 ounces, or is it going to be 16 ounces to 1 pound? That's the question you need to ask. And if you followed your units, you already know that ounces has to be on the bottom, so it has to be this one here, which has ounces on the bottom. Again, follow the units. So ounces is on the bottom, making pounds on top, and then you fill in your numbers. Once you have your units filled in, I know there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Now, if I stop there, my ounces are going to cancel, and I will get pounds as my units, which is what I want. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm just going to multiply my fractions. Here, I multiply my numerators. So here I got 20 times 1, which is 20. And then here I multiply my denominators. I got 1 times 16, which is 16. So this here is my answer. However, it's not in lowest terms. So let's move it to lowest terms. I can divide each by a 4. So I'm going to divide each by a 4. Here, I'll bring it down here so you can actually get it. 2016 without the units, divide by 4 equals 5 over 4. So you get 5/4, or you can make that as the mixed number, which is probably what you should be doing at this point. 4 goes into 5 once with 1 left over. So this will be 1 1/4 pounds as your answer there. Right. Don't forget your units, and make sure it gets in there. Yeah. But it's really that simple. It's just, I can't stress following the units, keeping yourself organized, and keeping track of what's happening. Because when we get into this a little more deeper later in this week, you're going to have a whole bunch of these conversion ratios. It's not just going to be one. So let's look at number 2 just to get more practice. And then I'll kind of let you try some on your own. If you have questions, you can ask. So number 2, I want to take 39 feet to yards. So I want to know how many yards is 39 feet. So again, I'm going to start with my 39 feet. Make it into a fraction. I only have 1 unit there, so it just goes with the numerator. And I'm going to multiply it by conversion ratios until I get yards. I'm going to start with just 1, and looking it up, I need feet to be on the bottom so they cancel out. So here feet will cancel if I put it that way. That's what I'm looking for. So now I gotta see if I have a relationship between feet and yards, and I'm gonna look at my table and it says 1 foot is 12 inches. That doesn't really help me. Then it says 1 yard is 3 feet. That's a relationship between feet and yards. So it says 1 yard equals 3 feet. So there it is. So now you got your conversion ratio. You know feet has to be on the bottom, so the 3 goes on the bottom and the 1 yard goes on top. Feet will cancel. You are left with yards in the end. So now you just solve. 1 times 39 is 39. 1 times 3 is 3. How many times does 3 go into 39? Is 13. So this equals 13 yards. It is really that simple. Again, do not lose your units. The whole point of this is about units. And yes, you can probably sit there and find easier ways to do this, but I can tell you those easy ways will not work every single time for any conversion you want. And that's why I'm showing you dimensional analysis. You could just be like, well, I'm just going to divide it by 3. And technically it will work here, but it's not going to be the same every time. So just keep yourself neat, keep yourself organized. So go ahead and give number 3 a shot on your own. It says 4.5 tons to pounds. So we're going to go here, and again, pay attention to your units. 4.5 tons to pounds. Again, you get 4.5 tons over 1. And your conversion ratio says 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. So you're going to multiply it. Tons need to go on the bottom so they cancel. And 2,000 will go on top. Multiply it out. 4.5 times 2,000. Again, you can use the calculator for that if you want. 4.5 times 2,000. I should be able to do that in my head, but it's getting late. That gives you 9,000. And again, tons will cancel out. 1 times 1 is 1. There's no units on the bottom. Pounds are on top. Divide it out, you get 9,000 pounds. Alright, give them a shot if you got questions. Why do the ounces cancel? Not in this one. Tons are canceling. The tons here will cancel because we're dividing them, right? Tons divided by tons equals 1, and when you multiply by 1, you don't change the value of things. This is your identity property of multiplication. Pounds have nothing to cancel with, so we're going to keep them. So go ahead, spend a couple minutes trying a couple of those. If you have questions or need me to do another one, let me know. When you get to the compare ones, you got to make them the same unit. You cannot compare different things. So pick one to make the same unit and go from there. I can show you like 28 or something. No, not 28, it's number 9. It's 28 ounces compared to 3 cups. So you have a choice. You either take 28 ounces and make it cups, or take 3 cups and make it ounces. So let's do 3 cups. I need cups to cancel. Looking up, I know. Oh, this one's your conversion ratio for cups, and this is on the other page. So if you look at 215, you'll get cups to ounces somewhere in here. So I know there are 2 cups equals 16 fluid ounces. Oh, this is fluid ounces. So 2 cups is 16 fluid ounces. So 2 would go here, 16 would go here. Multiply that out, 3 times 16, what, 64 or something? 50 something. 3 times 16 is 48. Divided by 2 equals 24. And this would be, this is fluid ounces. Don't lose your units like I just did there. Cups will cancel, left with fluid ounces. This is fluid ounces. So here you're actually comparing 28 fluid ounces to 3 cups, which is equal to 24 fluid ounces, and that one's larger. Or you could have taken the 28 fluid ounces and made them into cups. It doesn't matter as long as you make them into the same unit. Was it 13? 13 says leaking pipe loses 1.5 cups. 1.5 cups of water per hour. How many quarts of water does it lose in 1 week? Oh, this one is going to use some denominator stuff. Yes, good call. We'll work through this one. Okay, how many quarts per week? So here, just looking at it, it wants you to take cups per hour and turn it into quarts per week. So we are going to have multiple things going. I didn't know. I didn't read careful enough. That's okay. It's not hard. We're going to start with our given information, which is 1.5 cups per hour. Now you see this unit? It has a division bar in it. That means hours are on the denominator and cups are on the numerator. So how we're going to write that is not like that. But we are going to write it as 1.5 cups per 1 hour. In this way we do have a denominator here. And we need to make cups into quarts and hours into weeks. So first, it doesn't really matter which one you start with, but let's start with, actually we're going to start with the hours. Let's make hours into weeks first. Now my next conversion ratio, if I'm going to do with hours, I need hours to cancel. Hours is on the bottom, so here I have to put hours on top. Why do you divide diagonal units? Because multiplication is commutative. Doesn't matter about the order. They could be vertical units if you wanted. As long as one's on top and one's on the bottom, they will cancel. Number 4, you should be getting 18 weeks, Catherine. So here we're taking hours. We got to get rid of hours. So I'm going to look up some kind of relation between hours and maybe weeks. I don't know if it has that. It does not, but it does have hours to days. Right, so I can take this to days first. I know there are 24 hours in 1 day. Here my hours are going to cancel. I'm going to get cups per day. I don't want days, so I want days gone. I want days to be weeks. And looking at my conversion, hopefully you know there are 7 days in 1 week. And now my days are going to cancel. If I stopped here, I would have cups on top and weeks on the bottom, so this would be cups per week. However, I want quarts per week, so now I got to get rid of cups. So I'm going to multiply by another one. Here we have cups, so it has to cancel, so it goes on the bottom to cancel. Do I know cups to quarts? I do not, but I know cups to pints. I know 1 pint is 2 cups. So let's get pints in there. 1 cup is 2 pints. Now cups will cancel and I'll have pints per week. So I got to get rid of pints. So I get pints on the bottom there to cancel out. And I know 1 quart is 2 pints. Oh, I did know. Oh, and that's ounces. I know 1 quart is 2 pints. So 1 quart. How do you abbreviate quart? QT. 1 quart is 2 pints. And now my pints will cancel. And you'll note that on the bottom I have weeks, and on the top I have quarts, and that's what I want. I want quarts per week. So my answer is going to be quarts on top and weeks on the bottom. So then you just multiply it out. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 2 gives me 2 for the denominator. And again, the reason these cancel is because I could change the order of these. 2 times 1 is the same thing as 1 times 2. So I could, they're commutative, I can change the order, and therefore, because I'm multiplying here, it is multiplication between these. If they were adding, no, it wouldn't work. But I am multiplying, so I can change the order of those things. They are like terms. In this case, I don't, I got to do 1.5 times 24 times 7 times 2 times 1 to get my numerator. So those are my numbers on my numerator. So 1.5 times 24 times 7 times 2 times 1. That's going to give me 504 divided by 2, because again I want this as a rate here anyways, but this can be simplified, so I can take half of that. 504 divided by 2 gives me, let's get rid of my units for now, this equals 252 quarts per week. And that is your final answer. So they do get a bit complicated as you go on. Just kind of keep things organized, keep things simple, and follow your units to get them. The numbers fall in place once you get the units in place, and remember, units need to cancel. So that is 13. Probably going to look at 14. A student is making punch for a basketball team with 5 quarts of each of 3 ingredients. How many gallons of punch does he make? That one's pretty easy. So you're asking for 15. I don't even think I asked you to do 15. You just multiply by the conversion ratio. I don't think I asked you to do 15. But if you want to do it, you just say you multiply by the conversion ratio. That's all we're doing, right? We're multiplying your given times this ratio, times this ratio, times the conversion ratios. Right. Did you get that missed one? I don't remember which one you missed, Catherine. Did you figure it out? Hopefully. Any other questions on them? Again, we're going to look at the same thing tomorrow. It's just going to be using metric units instead of US customary units. And then it'll be the same thing the next day, only it'll be going between your metric and your customary units. And then it'll be the same thing the next day, only they're going to be strange units because I'm going to give them to you. I'm going to give you some different rates and do it. Yeah, if you have no other questions, we can end this. I didn't realize it was getting too close. Yeah, it's pretty close. So if you have further questions, either ask tomorrow when we do pretty much the same exact thing, or email me and we'll talk then. But you do got to start getting all your stuff for Miss Holden. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. And I shared the PDF file if you needed notes, if you didn't take them. So there's that. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.